Okay, so now we've got the 5.2 on the Deus. I'm just going to go through my settings. Hope it can help some of you out. Let's turn it on. Okay then. So, this is the Hammy program. It's got a bit of discrimination, just getting rid of the nails. It's a very stable setting, and it still finds a lot of the stuff. It's ideal for general searching, most scenarios. If you get into an area where there's a lot of roaming activity and you've got a lot of mineralisation in the ground and nails, then I'd go into the SID Pro setup. But we'll start off with the Hammy program. Okay then, settings, discrimination, this is at 3.2, it's just getting rid of the nails. Going to expert, it's on a 4-tone, expert again. Okay, so the first tone is set at 202, the second tone is set at 202, that's your iron grunt. And then you've got your third tone, which is your good tone, which is 610, and then your last tone is 782. So the first two are your iron grunts all the way up to 28. So that gets, you might lose a few of the tiny little targets, but you lose very little. And then from 28 to 68 is your mid-tone, which is your lower conductors, your small hammers, stuff like that. And then you've got your, from 68 to 99 is your high conductors, high silvers, your larger hammers coming at that, which is at 782. Right, and let's go across. So you push the menu button all the way to the bottom, and then it goes to the top. That's the discrimination. You set that at 3.2, push it again, and this is going to your second tone now, which is set at 28, and then it goes from 28 to 68, and then from 68 it automatically goes to 99. So that's your tones, that's your perimeters where you need to set that. The first one from -6.4 up to 3.2, that's going to give you a low grunt, and that's just your ground noise and that really. If you set your discrimination at the top, if you took that all the way down to -6.4, yeah, you're going to open it right up and you're going to dig. You're not going to miss anything at all in the ground. But by going to -6.4, you're also picking up ceramic, you're picking up the pottery, stuff like that. Every little bit of mineralisation or every bit of minerals that are in the ground, you're going to get a sound, and it's just going to drive you bloody bonkers. It's okay if you're on the best land you've ever been on in your life and you don't want to miss anything, then it might be worth dropping that down to 6.4, but I don't. In Hammy's setup, you leave that at 3.2, not -3.2, 3.2. There you go. Right, let's go back out of that. So that's your tone setup. Alright, and go down to sensitivity. Have that about 92. TX power at 2. Frequency 17.4. I'd use 17.4 for 90% of my searching, maybe more than that. I use it most of the time. If I was going for larger relics, I might drop the frequency down. You can go all the way down to 4. At 4, it's ideal for big masses at depth, but I never use that. I'm either in 11.7 or the 18, 17.4, but most of the time 17.4. If you was on pasture site and it was dead quiet, you could drop it down to the 12, but generally leave it in 17.4. And then if you've got any interference from other metal detectors, go into your frequency shift and just drop it up 1 or 2, but leave it in the middle to start with, unless you need to adjust it. Iron volume 2, reactivity 2. I generally use reactivity of 2 in the Hammy setup. I wouldn't adjust it. I've got the Hammy setup, and then I've got the Pro setup. If you're in a scenario where you think you need to change things, go into the Pro setup and then start to adjust it to suit the Roman sites, the busier activity. So the Hammy setup, just use that for general searching, and then go to the Pro setup for adjustments to suit the tricky scenarios. So reactivity 2, silencer 2. In the Hammy setup, you have it at silencer 2 because the Hammy setup is for easier searching and it's less going on in your ears. Because with the silencer, if you drop that to -1, you're opening it up and you're going to get, sorry, my phone's buzzing, let's move that. If you go to -1, you're opening the machine right up. It's like a built-in discrimination within discrimination as such for masking. So the Hammy setup, leave it at 2. Audio response 4, audio response. That is probably the best setting to be in for most of your detecting. If with the audio response, if you've got your audio response right up at 7, you're going to hear the deep targets easier because it amplifies the signal. But also by amplifying the signal for the deep target, you'll be amplifying all the EMI that's in the area. And if you've got tiny little specks of iron or foil or bits, it's just going to amplify everything. It's going to be too noisy. So leave it at 4. You can pop it up to 5 if you want to just get that edge, but 4 or 5. But I'd generally leave it in 4 for the Hammy setup. Notch, leave as it is. Then you're back to the discrimination. So that's all the settings for the Hammy setup. Apart from, just remembered, your grain balance. Go into your grain balance, put it on manual, drop that to 89 with just the 1 bar showing. Back out. So you've done all your settings. Go to option. I like to have the horseshoe. Anything on the right is a digger. Even if it's just showing at the top of the horseshoe, you're only getting a tiny little blip, but no numbers. And it could even be a scratchy signal, then dig it. If you've got an iffy signal and the bar's half full, it's generally trash. So if you want to, I like the horseshoe. If you go into options, configuration, profile, then you've got your graphic there. Look, you can either have it XY screen, which is the wiggly lines, which I don't like, but a lot of people do like. It's just preference, but I prefer to use the horseshoe. So I'll keep it in that. And there you go. That's all the settings. I base both of my programs on the v5.2 out of the hot program. So go into the hot program, which is program 9, and then do all these adjustments. Once you finish, go to options. Oh, missed it. Go down to programs, push select, save, put the name in. There you go. That's that one. Right, let's have a quick look at the Pro setup. So I've saved that into number 17. Pro setup is virtually the same. It's got a few little tweaks extra. So start off then. The disc, look, is at -2.8. I've set the disc at -2.8 because that's where, for me, everyone's different, but for me that's where the day is stabilised without picking up all the ceramic pots, hot rocks, stuff like that. So -2.8 is the most stable setting to have it as open as you can without being too open to listening to all the signals you don't need to hear. Going to expert. This is a 5-tone program. Expert again. The top one is at 120. That's because you've opened it right up now. You're going to get a bit more grain noise, but you can identify the grain noise because it's a really low grunt. Then you've got the next one, which is your iron tone, which is 202. Then you've got the good. You've got your 3 good signals now, which is your low conductors, your mid conductors, and high conductors. The low conductors is set at 559. The mid conductors is 680, and the high conductors is 782. Go to the top by pushing that again. So that's set at -2.8. Then the next one's set at 07. Next one's set at 30. Next one's set at 69. That's that. So that's all the tones sorted. Go back, go back. Sensitivity 92, 93. TX power 2. Frequency again, I always use 17.4 for most of my searching, and very rarely go from that unless I'm trying to get them deeper, bigger targets, like big silvers and stuff on pasture. Then you might drop it down to 12. Frequency shift, keep it the same as in the middle, unless you need to adjust it for interference. On volume 2, reactivity 2.5 I use. If it depends on the amount of iron that's in the ground. Because I'm using this program to be faster, otherwise I'd be in the Hammy setup. I'll have it at 2.5, and if there's a lot of mineralisation or a lot of iron in the ground, I'll up the reactivity, because even if you've got a lot of EMI, if there's a lot of EMI or your machine's being a bit erratic, if you've got a slow recovery, it's still got to process that signal, even if it's a false signal, for it to go to the next signal for you to find a good target. So 2.5 or above. 3 is fast, 4 is absolutely rapid, and 5 is it's just ridiculously fast. So I'd go 2.5 up to 4 maximum, because as you go up the reactivity you start to lose depth. But if you're on a Roman site where there's a hell of a lot of nails and mineralisation, you're not going to get deep anyway, so from 2.5 upwards is okay. Expert this is what I was talking about, is the silencer -1. Open up to everything and you don't miss a single thing. Audio response 4, I'd leave it at that. Notch 0, leave it at that. Then we're back to disc. So that's all the settings for the SIDS Pro setup. You go into your ground balance again, put that at 89, and again I've used the horseshoe. SID Pro, valid. So that's the 2 programs in there for you. Hopefully they do you good. If you find any good stuff, let me know. Drop me a message on Facebook or on the comments below. Happy days, happy hunting. See you soon. Ta-da.